He is the best pre-snap quarterback in the National Football League. And I'm not sure, outside of maybe Drew Brees, it's even close. Folks, think about this. 6'4", 225. He was drafted by the Montreal Expos. And in 1995-96, given a scholarship to play quarterback at Michigan, at the time a top 4, top 5 program. Have you ever played in a league in high school where a quarterback was given a scholarship to Alabama and the Orioles drafted him? You get how talented it is, right? Did Aaron Rodgers get a baseball scholarship? Did Peyton Manning get a baseball scholarship? Did Big Ben get a baseball scholarship? Do you know how talented you have to be? And people said baseball was his better sport. To get a top 5 quarterback scholarship in football. Right now, that would be Alabama offers you a football scholarship at quarterback. You know how talented you have to be just to get that? Oh, by the way, then a baseball team drafts you. And not like in the 38th round, the 39th, because baseball drafts go like 50 rounds. It's like 18th round. You can make the bigs out of the 18th round. I mean, this is remarkable to me. I was talking, and our thing is, Brady's defying age like nobody ever. Like, that doesn't count for anything. I was talking to an NFL scout this weekend about Jimmy Garoppolo, former Brady understudy in San Francisco, and he said, that whole adult film star Garoppolo thing, Tom's too smart to do that. That Garoppolo's talented, but he'll never, ever be Brady pre-snap. He'll never understand the temperature of the room like Brady. This scout said, Garoppolo and Shanahan will work, but they'll struggle. He said, because Garoppolo's not the kind of guy you can feed information and translate it to the field. This scout told me, he goes, when you tell Tom something at practice Thursday, you will see it Sunday. Flawlessly. That is a gift, folks. I don't want to hear about systems. How was Belichick's system in Cleveland? Greg Popovich has a system. You notice they don't win playoff series anymore because Tim Duncan's not in the system? Mark Cuban's one of the smart guys in America, told me years ago, owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Billionaire, right? I brought him on my show and he said, the most overrated thing in business is ideas. He goes, everybody's got a million ideas. He goes, I got a dozen ideas emailed me every day. Everybody's got ideas. What's hard to find isn't great ideas. What's hard to find is great people. Because nothing blows up a great idea like average people. The San Antonio Spurs system doesn't win playoff series much anymore, do they? The further Tim Duncan gets away out of his prime, then he retires, the worse they get. Nobody even considers them close to a title team this year. In fact, most people think Toronto, who lost Kawhi Leonard, it's not Kawhi, it's the system, will be better than San Antonio. What about the system? 3 things to remember about system quarterback Tom Brady. And these are indisputable. Number 1, wide receivers under Brady have had Super Bowl MVP trophies, Player of the Month trophies, have been all pro, and have left Brady, not 1 or 2, like 8 or 9, and have gone Bermuda Triangle. They've disappeared. Number 2 is Belichick not only lost in Cleveland, was 5-11 in New England, and that's with Drew Bledsoe. Dude could spin it. And number 3, the quarterback, Charlie Weiss, Bill O'Brien, Josh McDaniels, either been fired or haven't proven themselves, or kind of choke like a cat in a hairball when they've left Brady. The idea that 15 other quarterbacks in the NFL, Andy Dalton, Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins, Dak, Flacco, would be the greatest of all time is so much disrespect. Here's the quote again. It is the most disrespectful I've ever seen. That's like saying Andrew Bynum could have created the Spurs dynasty. That's what that's saying. That is outrageous. That's like saying, it's incredible.
It's really ungrateful.
Wow. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. The beige water pistol be the GOAT.
I'm not saying that those other guys aren't great athletes or good quarterbacks or hard workers, but the thing that separates Tom from everyone else, besides what he does on the field, is everything he does behind the scenes to prepare. When you watch Tom versus Time, him being obsessed with football, he is obsessed with it.
Okay. I can't even. You know Connor's on Friday. I mean, I can't even get my arms around this, my brain around this, my tiny brain. All right, let me segue to the Steelers, who by the hour are becoming Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. I mean, it's a circus. So Le'Veon Bell, he's their star running back. He's not playing. Apparently the staff has a picture. TMZ got this. He's now trolling the Pittsburgh Steelers on a jet ski. Here it is.
Out here with the best running back of all time, baby.
You already know what it is, man. We out here cruising on the jet skis, man.
We out here getting it, baby. Give my man his money.
Oh, good Lord. Antonio Brown, other Steeler offensive star, according to an AFC coach, was quoted saying it's a circus over there. Mike has no control. He's one of the best coaches, but the players have way too much control over there. It's an absolute circus. And I just want to talk about Mike Tomlin. And I've said before, he's Pete Carroll. He can coach. I'm not doubting that. But he's too loose, no discipline. We would all admit, here's something that's real in life. Momentum. I mean, Barry Switzer, you don't think of him as a great NFL coach, but he took Jimmy Johnson's draft picks and contracts and culture and momentum and won a Super Bowl. Now, 4 years later, they were 6-10. He was fired. Mark Helfrich took over Chip Kelly's football team. Used that momentum in year 1 or 2 to get to a national title game. 3 years later, he's out of work. Larry Coker in Miami took over the Miami Hurricanes. Couple years really good. Year 3 not as good. Year 5 out of work. Momentum is a real thing. I can take over a really successful company. I wouldn't do it in 6 days. There'd start to be leaks in 6 weeks, and in 6 months I'd blow the thing up. Because I don't know what I'm doing, right? If I was running a business, I'm not a businessman. I'm not a CEO. I didn't go to Harvard Business School. Momentum's a real thing. So I want you to think about this. So when Mike Tomlin let's break his career into halves. Okay? 10 years of coaching. So let's go to his first 5 years when he took Mike Tomlin's momentum. Tomlin had 9 players on the roster that were either Pro Bowlers or he had drafted and they were going to be Pro Bowlers. Many of them on defense. Cowherd was a defensive guy. In the first 5 years, using Tomlin's draft picks, culture, momentum, 5 playoff wins, 4 playoff appearances, 2 Super Bowls. But since that time, the second half of his career, this is now Mike Tomlin's team. Those Cowherd players have retired, free agents, got hurt, left. Now it's his roster, totally his footprint. The second half, the longer it's his team, the numbers aren't the same. And here's what's more troubling, is that if you look at the first 5 years when he took over Cowherd's culture, defensive players, many of them new coaches, the Steelers' defensive ranks. And remember, Cowherd and Tomlin are defensive guys. In the first 5 years,
knocks that off.
Defense was ranked first, fifth, second, first, sixth. Wow. But now the defense, and Tomlin's a defensive guy, it's his draft picks, his coaching, his staff, his assistants, his mind, his everything. Defensive ranks have gone to 14th, 18th, 21st, 12th. That's the problem. The offense isn't the issue. Okay, Cowherd was never an offensive genius. He was a defensive guy. And when Cowherd was there, first, fifth, second, first, sixth, he took care of his side of the ball. Okay, Belichick even gives his offense to assistant coaches, Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels, Bill O'Brien. But if you look as the momentum of Cowherd has dissipated, and it is now Tomlin's team, the offensive stars are rolling their eyes, calling out Tomlin because his side of the ball isn't working. It's not that I think Tomlin's a bad coach. I've said it about Pete Carroll. But momentum has always been a real thing. And I don't think people have ever kind of put their arms around this and said, let's cut Tomlin's career into 2 halves. The first half, he took some momentum from Cowherd. A roster, a culture, defensive players, draft picks. After about 5 years, those guys leave, retire, get hurt, move on, get too old. Then it's yours. Your footprint, your draft picks, your coaches, completely your culture. And the defensive side of the ball, frankly, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough. And that's on Tomlin. So nobody is insinuating he's Barry Switzer, least of all me. But momentum's real. And I think the longer Mike is running this organization, the leaks are real, should be discussed, need to be fixed, because they are a circus, and they are not close defensively in the last 5 or 6 years to what he inherited. Momentum's real. He doesn't have it anymore. And I think sometimes Mike is being exposed. All right, all sorts of stuff today. By the way, Whitlock yesterday. Now, Jason Whitlock's always loved Tom. And we used to do Speak for Yourself. I used to say, yeah, I'm not saying he can't coach. But let's be honest here. This thing it's his franchise now. Whitlock talked about this yesterday with Marcellus Wiley on Speak for Yourself.
Marcellus, there's one house that keeps having drama. As, the police are always, hey, could you turn the noise down? Right. Hey, there were kids partying here last weekend, and windows got knocked out. There's one house where there keeps being drama, and there's one parent at the house. And at some point, you got to look at Mike Tomlin and say, damn, man, your house is Animal House.
Tomlin is respected in the sport, and I'm not calling for his job, but I have been critical of Tomlin and Pete Carroll for the exact same thing. This is a coach's sport and a quarterback sport. Loose ships, loose cultures, unravel fast. And players now are more political. They're more empowered. They're higher paid. They have social media to amplify their discussions. And right now, Pittsburgh has to reel it in. They are a circus. They're a circus. All right, good stuff today. Coming up next, I'm going to end the silliest sports myth ever. For years and years, I've heard something, and it's just ridiculous. So this morning, I literally went down into my database. I crawled down the ladder of my database into the well, and we're going to end it on this show. And it involves Tom Brady. And we're going to end it forever. That's coming up next. All right, last night, another night of quality sleep. Intense sleep. Didn't sleep long last night. Intense sleep on my Casper mattress. Sleeping on one now. Multiple Casper mattresses in my house. Cool and comfortable. Pressure relief. Perfect alignment. Even the delivery system is pretty remarkable. They ship it to your door for free in a box that's how they get it in their size box. And then they'll let you sleep on it for 100 nights. And if you don't like it, they'll come get it, ship it out for free, refund your money. But you won't. They have over 35,000 five-star reviews on all of their products across Google, Amazon, Casper. Put Casper to the test in your home. Risk-free. Go to Casper.com and the code is HERD. The code gets you $50 toward the purchase of select mattresses. Casper.com, code HERD. Terms and conditions apply.
When Cousin Sal, Todd Furman, Clay Travis, and Rachel Bonetta get together, all bets are on. Lock It In is the all-new one-of-a-kind sports gambling show weekdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Blake Bortles, who is sort of a, marginal NFL quarterback, did not have Leonard Fournette, his star running back. And Blake Bortles dominated the current NFL dynasty, the New England Patriots. In fact, Blake Bortles on third down, when you really need that running back, Leonard Fournette didn't even dress, wasn't in the game. And Jacksonville's offense, I don't think I've ever seen Blake Bortles, especially on third down, be that effective. By the way, Atlanta did not have Devontae Freeman, and they dropped 31 points on the best front seven, arguably, in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers. The Steelers scored 37 without Le'Veon Bell. If you're Le'Veon Bell, if you're an actor, and you're like, I'm not going to work, I want a new contract, and they release the movie anyway, and it gets a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes and sells out theaters, good luck in your contract negotiations. They don't need you. Go back to the deodorant commercials, because they don't need you. But you're sitting there, Le'Veon Bell, and I know you want to go and do emojis, and I like Le'Veon Bell. He's a good kid, and he's a good back. I think he can really help certain teams in this league, especially teams with young quarterbacks and bad offensive lines like the New York Jets. He can help them. He can help Buffalo that doesn't have a quarterback, and they're rebuilding their offensive line. You put him on a Pittsburgh team with Big Ben, with Antonio Brown, with Juju Smith-Schuster, with a veteran coaching staff, with 2 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line. That was a bad day for Le'Veon Bell. Because Jacksonville's offense and Blake Bortles have never, ever been that effective on third down, late in the game, beating a quality team. At 15 years old, we all make choices. You choose running back over quarterback, running back over receiver, running back over cornerback, running back over pass rusher. This is your reality. You don't mean as much. So Ian O'Connor's got a new book out, Belichick, the greatest football coach of all time. And in it, there is a quote from somebody within the building of New England that Joy Taylor and I are, to say the least, dismayed by, that the general feeling among staff members wasn't that Belichick's system could make Super Bowl quarterbacks out of all 32 NFL starters, but if you gave us any of the top 15, we could do it. Okay, so Andy Dalton would be the GOAT. Alex Smith would be the GOAT. Joe Flacco would be the GOAT. Good hell.
I mean,
it's embarrassing. It's the dumbest.
You know what? It is embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. Whoever
said that should be embarrassed. And it goes a long way in, like, a lot of times I'll be out among the peeps, right? I'll be at the grocery store, car wash, restaurant. Somebody will come up to me and they'll have an opinion on sports. And they kind of asking the question, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? But occasionally they'll state something as fact to me. And I'll be like, I do this for a living. You have another job. I wish I had time to explain it, but really jam my car keys in my retina. I can't get out of this conversation fast enough with Guy, who believes he has the answer in a definitive sports argument. And instead of, if I'm at the restaurant, I grab the fork and I just jam it in my eye. And I bleed and I leave the restaurant in an ambulance because that's more comforting than talking to that buffoon. And this happens about once a month. I have had people, because they know I love Brady, lots of people come up to me in the last 20 years, 15 years, and say, hey, Patriots won 11 games, won 11-5 with Matt Castle. Now I bring you the dumbest sports myth of all time.
Colin ends the dumbest myth in all of sports.
Okay, let me contextualize this and talk slowly. Tom Brady, Welker, Moss, great team. The year before he gets hurt, they go 16-0 in a league, this is not college football, where you don't blow people out much. They have 11 to 12 blowout wins. 16-0, 11 to 12 blowout wins. They set passing records, receiving records. They are called, for a single season, the greatest offense of all time. Then Tommy gets hurt. Matt Castle comes in. Not only does he win 5 fewer games, not only are they blown out 3 times by over 20 points, not only do they fail to make the playoffs, folks, 7 times they don't score 20 points. So in virtually half the games, the greatest offense of all time can't get to the league average of 22 points. Oh, by the way, Randy Moss had 23 touchdowns with Tom the following year, only 11 and 39% fewer yards with the same roster, only changed Brady. Let me also add this. We know that when Aaron Rodgers got hurt and Brett Hundley came in, it was a different offense, right? We know when Carson Wentz gets hurt and Nick Foles comes in, they're not as good. So let me give you some examples. So the Green Bay offense, with Aaron Rodgers last year and without him, the difference in total points was 8. That's a lot of points. That's over a touchdown. When Wentz got hurt to Nick Foles, the difference was 3 points. hurt to Matt Castle. It was 11 points. And thus ends the dumbest sportsmith of all time.
Thus ends the dumbest myth in all of sports.
I mean, seriously.
You know how many times I've heard that argument, right?
It's
Because
like,
that was the Dolphins won the AFC East that year.
yeah, that year,
Yes.
with the greatest offense of all time, Tom leaves, the dysfunctional Dolphins won the
Right.
division. I mean, think about this. It is significantly greater difference between Castle and Brady than Hundley and Rodgers. And you watched the Packers last year. Not the same team. Joy Taylor with the news.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
I feel your frustration because I've heard that argument so many times. And it's like, I've suffered at the hands of Tom Brady as a sports fan for 20 years. I mean,
Yeah, you've been.
like, no one should be more bitter at Tom Brady than me, and I've just submitted to he's the greatest. What am I supposed to do?
That's right.
Sometimes you pull a short straw. This is what it is.
When you were a Knicks fan against Michael Jordan, it's like, yeah, we played pretty well.
I mean,
but
it's what it is.
It is what it is.
Exactly. What are you going to do? All right, so after just 2 games, the Rams look like the best team in the NFL, and after beginning the offseason with the 8th best odds to win the Super Bowl, the Rams have now passed the Patriots as the favorites to win it all. So they opened at 20-1, and the updated odds are 5-1. What do you think about that?
I think it's right. I will say this. Rams are the only team in the league that can drop 35, and when the game's over, you're like, yeah, they don't really play that great. Like I always said this about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant can score 29 points, and you're like, I didn't think he was great. If Klay Thompson, who's also a really good player, scored 29, you'd feel all of it. You'd be like, oh, Klay, you drive home that night from Oracle, you're like, God, Klay Thompson was money. Durant scores 29, and you're like, really?
Because you have higher expectations.
And great players and great teams make it look really easy. Durant
they're
scores
consistent.
29 easily.
Right.
As good as Clay is, 29, you feel 29. The Rams drop 35 points in this league regularly, and it's like they didn't really smoke it.
I still also maintain that they're just not a loud team. Like everything that you see going on with
Yes.
with the Patriots this whole off season, with the Steelers, you look at a team like the Cowboys that always have storylines surrounding them, the Packers, like they just, what do you know about the Rams? They're just good.
Even in Los Angeles, it is still a Laker town.
You never hear anything about the Rams.
No,
except for that they're good.
Jared Goff, I've never seen him on local TV. Like they're an incredibly great machine, but they've been very smart. Todd Gurley, you can see him sometimes locally, but I mean, they're stars. They're at practice, or they're apparently hiding.
They really must be, because this is LA. All right, so the Browns passed on Sam Darnold in the draft, as we know, but they did do their due diligence on him throughout the draft process. And Hugh Jackson plans to use every piece of intel that they gathered in Week 3.
We're going to use every piece of information we can. You can believe it. Yeah, I mean, we have an idea of who we're playing. There's no doubt. I mean, he's a tough, competitive young man. He's not going to shy away from anything. And he's going to stand there and try to make plays when need be. And he doesn't get rattled much. So we'll use all the information we have to our advantage.
So all the information that you gathered that led you to not drafting him number 1 overall.
Well, Cleveland should win. They're at home. It's a rookie quarterback. They have a really good defense finally, and it's a short week. Remarkably, the line is 3. This is a game Cleveland should win. I think they will, and they'll go 1-1-1, and they're exactly where they should be with Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is doing exactly what Tyrod Tayller's done his whole life. He has stabilized a mess. They're 0-1-1, would be 2-0 with a kicker. So I don't want to hear that Tyrod Taylor's not good enough. They're a kicker away from being 2-0 against the Steelers and Saints. This whole thing about you got to get Baker Mayfield on. What's Tyrod Taylor? He's thrown for about 230 yards. With that team, that's what Tyrod Taylor does.
So you don't think if they lose this game...
I think their owner's a typical zealot billionaire, and if they lose to the Jets, I think that Hugh Jackson's going to be forced to play Baker, and I don't think Baker's quite ready. And by the way, the Browns' schedule gets brutal. Like week 4 to week 11, it's a nightmare.
I think it's Baker. week 4 if they lose this week. Speaking of the Browns passing on Darnold, unlike Josh Rosen, who's made it very clear that he is upset about not going number 1 overall. There were 9 mistakes that happened passing on him in the draft. Darnold says the snub isn't a big motivating factor as he gets ready for Thursday night's game in Cleveland.
I mean, I thought, I could have ended up there or, several other teams. So, but during that whole draft process, I honestly haven't even thought about it, since I got drafted by the Jets. But with them having the 1 pick, it was, I guess a good chance that I might have gone there. So I was thinking about it before, but, ever since the draft, I haven't really thought about it.
By the way, he went 3rd, so it's not like Aaron Rodgers, who didn't go number 1 and had to sit there for 3 hours. Darnold sat there for about 8 minutes and then was like, oh, I'd rather go to the Jets anyway than Cleveland. So there's not a lot of bitterness there.
I think he ended up in a good situation.
Yeah.
And I think that we're already kind of forgetting what happened with this draft class. Remember, nobody knew who was going to go number 1 overall. The day of the draft, nobody knew. You rarely have that. We almost always know months before, like this guy is going to this team. Like, the team's not going to say it. They're going to say they're going to do their due diligence and everything. But we know this guy is going number 1 overall, or at least 1 or 2, depending on the quarterback. But this quarterback draft class was all over the place. Nobody knew where they were going.
Yeah.
So,
Joey's hit with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie
New
News.
book out by Ian O'Connor, chronicling Bill Belichick, the Patriots, and Tom Brady. Joining me from New York via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network. My friend Nick Wright, co-host First Things First. Listen, it's the 350 people interviewed. There's some strife in the relationship. What's your takeaway?
I mean, my takeaway is they use the divorce line. And what is it? About 50% of all marriages in this country end in divorce. This is an arranged marriage between Brady and Belichick, as any coach-quarterback combo is when the quarterback's selected through the draft. The fact that it's lasted at such a high level for this long is essentially unprecedented in NFL history.